us go to him. Thomas, called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. Now when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, while Mary was still sat in the house. And Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. And Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection of the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And whosoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of the God who is coming into the world. And when she had said this, she went and called her sister Mary, saying quietly, the teacher is here, he's calling for you. When she heard it, she rose quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who were with her in the house consoling her saw Mary rise quickly and go out, they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to weep there. Then Mary, when she came where Jesus was, saw him and fell at his feet, saying, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in the spirit and troubled. And he said, where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. So the Jews said, see how he loved him. But some of them said, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind have kept this man from dying? Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. There was a cave, and a stone lay upon it. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be an odor, for he has been dead 4 days. And Jesus said to her, did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. I knew that thou hearest me always, but I have said this on account of the people standing by, that they may believe that thou didst send me. And when he had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with bandages, and his face wrapped with a cloth. And Jesus said to him, unbind him and let him go. Many of the Jews who had come with Mary and seen Jesus did this, believed in him. Glory to thee, O Lord, glory to thee. Please be seated. Just a few comments on this scripture. Jesus was friends with Lazarus and Mary and Martha. And it's interesting that he delayed when they sent for him, because he knew Lazarus was going to die. Now, the 2 previous resurrections he had done, the daughter of Jairus, the ruler of the synagogue, and the son of the widow of Nain, were both just died. And according to Jewish belief, the soul hovered around the body for 3 days. And so for them, it was like a resuscitation. But in this case, he deliberately allowed Lazarus to die long enough that deterioration was occurring in the body. And then he came and raised him from the dead, making the point that he would soon rise from the dead, and that he had the power as the Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, over life and death. And it was an incredible event. Lazarus come forth, with Martha protesting the body was deteriorating, and Lazarus came walking out of the tomb. And it caused belief in some, but it also caused those who hated Jesus, the scribes, the Sadducees, and some of the Pharisees, to plot his death because of this powerful miracle he created right before Passover. Now, the other point I want to make very simply is that the big crowd that occurred on Palm Sunday, which is tonight and tomorrow for us, was a result of this miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead. Because many of the people in Judah, southern part of the Jewish nation, didn't really know him the way people in the northern part, Galilee, did. And so it produced this enthusiasm about him as the Messiah. And so it set the story ready for his triumphal entry into Jerusalem as the king on Palm Sunday, and for his supplement resurrection 1 week later on Pascha. And so we celebrate it today as the beginning of Holy Week for us, because that miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead was the first step toward his own resurrection. In the name of the Father, and Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever, ages of ages. Amen.